Hi, my name's Herb. I'm with Imaging Spectrum Tech Support, and I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about what to do if your printer stops working at an event. A couple of the tools that I always like to take with me to an event, these are imperative to have, and I'm just talking about if you want to check your printer for shards of paper. A lot of times that's the problem with when the printer stops working. Your two little error media lights go on. You don't know what to do. First thing you need to have is a mini flashlight. This is great if you're working at an event with a DJ and it's dark, you can't see anything, you gotta have a little flashlight. Also, you want a Phillips head screwdriver, preferably with a magnetic head, so that when you undo the little screws that are in here, they don't fall back down inside the printer. You wanna get a pair of tweezers. Now you can go to the drugstore and get a small set like this, or if you just Google 6-inch pointy angled tweezers, a whole bunch of stuff will come up. They're about $3 to $10 online. And you want a can of air. This is a can of soda. It's not a can of air, but we're going to pretend today that this is a can of air. First thing that usually happens is your printer will go down and give you those error lights. First thing you want to do is you want to check the shard tray. What is a shard? Well, it's what we like to call these little pieces of paper that are real pains in the rump. These things are like if you were to open your printer and pour sand in there. Okay, they are static electrically charged, and they find their way anywhere into any corner and cause all kinds of problems. So after every event, you want to empty this thing out. And it doesn't matter which printer you have, they all have shard catchers. They're supposed to catch them. First thing you want to do is you want to open your printer. You want to visually check inside. You want to take out the ribbon. Okay, put that aside. You want to take out your paper. Okay, when you take out the paper, you want to visually check inside the printer to see if there's any shards in here. Now, a lot of times when you get a jam, that's a shard. 9 times out of 10, it's a shard when you get a jam. So you want to take your can of air, spray all in there. One time, if you think you're done looking for shards, look again. You want to blow some canned air down inside here just to make sure that there's none in there. You'll see gears on the side of this particular printer. They have, for lack of a better term, axle grease on them. Sometimes shards can get stuck to that grease and get stuck in there. Once you've looked everywhere you think, you also want to look up under here. This is where the cutter is. Okay, you want to bend over. If this is on a table, you want to bend over. You want to look up under here just for the sake of making sure that no shards are stuck in the corners and the sides, making sure that you don't. Now you have to really look for them. If you look right here, I've got one right here. Okay, that thing would have caused me all kinds of trouble. Okay, so you've got to look. You've got to look. The one place that you can really look for that they love to stick in, this is removing the cutter cover, okay? And you don't want to drop these little screws down inside the printer because that brings a whole nother level of issues. So I have my magnetic screwdriver, okay? Once you remove this part right here, you can look down into here with your flashlight. You can look down inside here. This is where they like to be. A lot of times when you first take this cover off, you'll see a whole bunch of them. Once you take the cutter off, after you've checked in there, you can close the printer and check it, make sure it works without this cutter on, or without this cover on there. It will operate, okay, without this cover. The next step is to, if you're still getting something wrong, you need to remove this faceplate. A lot of times the cutter itself is not working. That's the only problem. For example, if you look inside, you can see your print is in there, but it's not cutting. That means one of these little suckers got stuck in the cutter in the front. And we have accessed the cutter from the top. We can access it from the bottom, but we can't access it from the front without doing a little bit more. And what you want to do is take your screwdriver, and there's a groove right here specifically made for the screwdriver, and you're going to take out one screw. Okay, I like to be organized and I don't want to get my screws all mixed up. I don't want to have them roll away. But I can unscrew this, okay? That's going to take off this cover right here. Now you kind of got to wiggle it. You got to be a little bit rough with it. You don't want to break it, but you do have to pull it a little bit, okay? And it comes right out. Now, once you've taken that out, you can see behind here, there's 2 screws back here that hold this side of the faceplate on, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the other side off, okay? And it's the same routine. There's a hole for the screwdriver. This one comes off a little harder than the other, but take them both off. Now I have 2 screws on this side exposed. I have 2 screws on this side exposed. Once I've got that, I can go ahead and carefully remove the screws that hold the faceplate on. So there's 2 on this side and 2 on that side. This is where the magnetic screwdriver comes in very handy. Now you might not want to do this at an event, you know, since it's a little time consuming. Okay, so you can lift this up. Okay, so we're on screw number 3. First one on this side. Oops. That's what you don't want to do. Okay. Now we can take the front faceplate off. And when you do that, you don't want to jerk it because it's still got wires attached here. What you want to look for, what you're looking at right now is the cutter. This is the cutting wheel. These are the tracks. It should move freely, okay? Once you push it, it should stop. It shouldn't, you know, slide freely across. But sometimes one of these things will get stuck right in here, okay? And it will be completely bent and messed up, okay? So we'll get stuck between these gears. When that happens, the cutter will not work. Once you've checked everything in here, checked in here for shards, everything should be good. And you can go ahead and put everything, just reverse putting it back together. Now you're back in business. All you want to do is put your paper and your ribbon back in. When you put your paper and your ribbon back in, you always want to have the power on these. Close it back up and you're ready to go. If you have any other questions, give us a call. We're always here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5:30.